and donate a lot of that money to charity. They've had a second child, and their second child is Amelia, who is beautiful and just a joy to be around. And she is being celebrated with a Mead as well. That will be coming out in probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months. I seem to not be able to hear you.
No, we're here.
Oh, we're here. Okay, great.
Yeah,
okay.
We're listening intently.
All right, good. Yeah, the side
taking notes.
Yeah, no, the side tone diminished a lot, and maybe it was just everything got clean there, and I got confused. There's going to be an Amelia, and that's going to be coming out in probably a couple of months, and it's delicious. I'll save what the actual batch is. We did a batch that we were going to release on tap at the tasting room, I believe, only that is cranberry, and that's been on for a couple of weeks. People seem to like it a great deal. It's very sweet, it's very tart, it's very fruity, kind of a classic thing. Red Agnes came out initially about I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months ago, and since then we have been able to scale that up, and we have a batch going in the large fermenter now. And so that's going to be as long as the batch comes out. The batch has got to come out well. But when that's done, there will be another release of the Red Agnes. We've worked on some meads that are combinations of different fruits, and so we have one that's got the working title on it right now is The Smile of Fortune. Which is another one of the titles that's in the vein of the books by Joseph Conrad. I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for Joseph Conrad, and that's another one of his stories that we're gonna name a mead after. That's a blend of a lot of fruits that a lot of people are familiar with. It's gonna go on tap at the tasting room as soon as the label is approved, and so that'll be available shortly. One of the ones that we're working on a label of right now that's going to be pretty small quantity release, but it's kind of exciting for us. James Nager, who is our vice president of sales, has worked with a local retailer, and the retailer ordered an entire barrel of a bourbon that they sold, and then asked us if we'd be interested in using the bourbon barrel to go ahead and age a mead. And so cool. We did. Yeah, and we did ginger in there. The name for that mead is Lord Jim, which is once again another
novel reference.
Novel reference, exactly, to Joseph Conrad.
Apparently, I hate to jump in like this because you're on a roll, but I'm hearing in from a few people that our sound quality has gone really weird, and I think it's on my end. So, what I need to do is unplug my speaker here and replug it, and we may have to restart the call. So people out there listening, I do apologize, but apparently we are having some technical difficulties that just started. So we're going to try to fix this, and I apologize. So hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, we should be back.
Great.
Oh, God, and that's much better. Hamish, tell me if we sound better. Looks like our mixer froze on us. So Hamish was the one that wrote in. Yeah, it's just weird. Sometimes it does that. All right, Ken, you still there?
I certainly am.
Oh, you sound so much better.
I'm great.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
I feel better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So moving forward from where we were, you were talking about, what were you talking about?
It's just weird. Sometimes it does that.
Okay, that sounds much
Are
better.
you still there?
Manny, okay, turn the sound down. I can hear that. It does sound much better.
You were talking about your barrel aging.
Yes, we did we aged our traditional ginger mead. We aged it in a bourbon barrel for somewhere between 4 and not quite 5 months. It did a great job on the mead. It rounded off a lot of the edges. It added a kind of a sultry vanilla note to it, and it essentially transformed the mead into something that is very different. There are. I'm still a huge fan of the regular ginger. It's sharp and edgy and vibrant and delicious with sushi. And and this other version is now softer, rounded, luscious, and complex in ways that the straight up ginger is just not. So we're excited about that. That's going to come out through a store in the Detroit area called Holiday Market, and there'll be some bottles that'll come out, I'm sure, and it'll be on tap at the tasting room as well. So that's kind of exciting. We've been, I'm a hard guy to convince on these barrel experiment things because I really want to make sure what we've got with our traditional production processes is absolutely nailed down and is as close to utterly delicious, and I don't want to say perfect, but as good as we can make it on a consistent basis. And adding other variables is something I get a little bit squeamish about, but this turned out to be a really good effort. So we'll see if maybe that's not something that we do a little bit more of in the future. I know people are really enamored of barrel-aged products right now. But there's also plenty of craziness going on in the world of barrel aging that can be a little scary. So that's one thing. And in terms of, I know we're supposed to talk about fruit today. We have we're in the process right now of trying to expand production of the cherries that we use in HOD and our other statement reserve. And in order to do that, we're going to need more trees. And so we have trees in a nursery right now. I think we were working on them last year. More than 30 of them survived the winter and are in great shape. They've been transplanted into bigger containers now and should be ready to go into the ground at a location at the end of their dormant period this winter. So we're really looking forward to finding a spot for those trees right now, and we're struggling with that. There's a lot to do. Buy a bottling line and find a farm. Just take care of those things before dinner.
Piece of cake.
No sweat. But and keep them going as they are, and make sure that they're in good shape, and keep the fruit that you've got going this year in good shape. But the desire is to find a piece of property that we can use to expand that production, and we have some interesting decisions ahead of us. We can go out into the area north and east of where we are right now. There's areas in northern Oakland County and especially in northern Macomb County that have been in fruit production for many years. The Romeo area is famous for its fruit, and so we could try and find something that's perhaps closer to close to Romeo, and that has the availability of the kind of territory we want with good southern exposures and good roll off of the wind and that kind of roll off of cold in the winter and whatnot. And then we have the chance to potentially maybe look at a spot in the city of Detroit, which would be, an adventure. We'd have to find a place that's not going to create problems with residential neighborhoods around it, but there are some really cool pieces of property in the city of Detroit that might be. Look at a spot in the city of Detroit, which would be an adventure. Have to find a place that's potentially like abandoned church locations that have a lot of property. There are schools that are no longer in use in the city of Detroit because so much population left that have big chunks of empty just grass and overgrown yards at this point is what it boils down to. And if we can find 5 or 6 acres and do that, it would be wonderful because it would be really close to us. And the fruit that goes into the heart of darkness is really exceptional because we can coddle it. We can treat it as well as it can possibly be treated. And if we can find spots that are only about maybe a mile or 2 or even 4 or 5 from the meadery in Ferndale, that will allow us to expand our production and still treat that fruit with extreme care, that would be exceptional for us. And yeah. I don't want to sound like altruistic or anything, but Elson and I are really excited about the possibility of potentially doing something in the city of Detroit. We've been Detroit type folks for our whole lives, and the chance to do something that might benefit the city of Detroit and employ some Detroiters would be a great thing. I would be really happy to do that. I would be really excited to maybe make some jobs in the city that have some long-term lasting power and that build some skills for some folks in the Detroit area that would be marketable skills.
Yeah. Well, I love that it would be like urban. It's urban gardening basically, but on a large scale. And exactly. And I love that whole concept. I think that's really neat because if we can bring more green back into our urban world, then that's good for everybody. But to do that right in the city, I think is kind of a blow towards a revitalization. You know? Yeah.
And the thing that's not really acknowledged much about the actual city of Detroit is that area was developed 300 years ago by the French because many years before that, the Native American population recognized that this is a massively fertile chunk of property. This is gorgeous black dirt in warm water estuaries and in watersheds that feed right into the Great Lakes. And this is like North America's Nile Delta here. This is some of the finest land in our state, and it's flat and it's temperate and it has great water sources. It's ideal land, and we happened to develop it for industry because it had great water resources and it was really easy for transportation. Yeah. But it's also some of the best agricultural property in Michigan, and probably in the country. It's spectacular. Totally. It's spectacular. The soil here in this area is spectacular, and it grows great fruit. So the chance to leverage that toward great product is something that there are also other people that are looking at this. There are people that want to start wineries in the city of Detroit and on Belle Isle because of this very